Well, hello again, folks. It occurs to me that you all don't know much about us, Mike and Sandy Mills, if you haven't been reading our blog, Fannie and May, all these years. So perhaps it's time to tell you a little bit about us. We have been married for 48 years, and I've spent all of my career in the aviation business, flying airplanes and then working for the FAA. And Sandy was a school teacher, and her career is one of having taught kindergarten classes and what else?
Second grade and gifted and talented.
And then you became a supervisor at the end of your career,
Yes.
which was how many years?
29 years. And I was supervisor of the kindergarten, first and second grade gifted.
And I've always told her that she got that job because I'm so gifted, but she doesn't agree with that. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm going to show you some mementos about my flying career. I have made a shadow box of all of the insignia that I wore as uniforms. On my uniform as an airline pilot, and so here they are. You can see every first commuter airline before that was flying the mail. We didn't have a uniform for that. And then Rio Airways, a commuter airline, and then Evergreen International, a cargo airline, then Emerald Air, a charter airline, and then Braniff International, and then Kitty Hawk Airways, which is a cargo carrier, and finally Pacific International. And I was captain on all of these except Evergreen, and I didn't stay there long enough because I got the job offer at Emerald. But anyway, that was an enjoyable career, but I had the distinction of having bankrupted every airline that I flew for. All those airlines for which you observe the insignia have all gone out of business. I didn't really bankrupt them, but they certainly went bankrupt. So I thought it was time. Hey, I need a steady job. Our daughter, Mindy, was 9 years old when all this airline flying ended, so I've got a job with the FAA and stayed with them and retired. At the time of my retirement, I was manager of the office to oversaw Southwest Airlines. And so luckily I had that career, or we wouldn't enjoy the travels and good times that we have now. So anyway, I thought that would kind of catch you up as far as careers go. And we full-timed for 8 years, had an RV for 19, and just recently hung up the keys, as you saw in an earlier video. And today we are heading to Temple, Texas. We're going to ride the train again. And we got a text message early this morning, which I didn't know Amtrak offered, saying that the train was going to be late. And since then, that was at 4:21 this morning, I think, we got that text. And then we got two more texts saying it was going to be progressively later. So it's going to wind up being about an hour and 15 minutes late getting into Mineola, where we'll have to take the train. So that's going to be interesting. I was very surprised to get that information by text because I didn't realize Amtrak, being a government agency, which I know well having worked for the government, would be so efficient as to be able to inform us in that way. So they did, and so we have slowed down our preparation process, and we're going to take a leisurely drive up to Mineola and get on the train. So we'll get back with you a little later. After I shut off the camera, I thought about things that I could have said about my flying career, but it would make this video too long. However, for those aviation buffs out there who would like to know what it is like to talk to an older pilot, well, I am one. I accumulated about 15,000 hours in my flying career before I went to work for the FAA in 1996. My first flight was in 1963 when I was just 16 years old. I soloed that same year. And before I graduated from high school, I had obtained a commercial pilot certificate and a multi-engine rating, and soon thereafter an instrument rating. That was pretty rare. No one that I knew had that much experience by the time he graduated from high school. I was just lucky. I had parents who helped me, and I worked a lot at the airport, fueling airplanes and washing them and moving around the ramp. But I got it done because that was what I wanted to do, and I knew that when I was 8 or 10 years old, after I took my first flight. I had no doubt what I wanted to do for a living. The FAA came along. Well, before that, I also had a proclivity toward management. That's possibly how it came to be that I was eventually promoted to chief pilot in 4 of the airlines that I worked for. And so I sort of enjoyed having my fingerprint on the way flying was going and the people whom we hired, and so that was an aspect of it that went along with the flying. But there's no question that my real love was in flying airplanes. It makes me cringe a bit when I think that when I look back on my flying career, the airplanes that I flew are largely extinct now. It doesn't seem in my mind that they should be, but they are. For example, the Swearingen 227, which is a little heavier, more than 12,500 pound weight Swearingen, required a type rating. I had a type in that, as well as a de Havilland -7, 4-engine turboprop that you don't see anymore. I'm sure they're probably in some foreign countries, but you don't see them in the States. Then I have a type and a DC-9, which I enjoyed flying. It was a short one and kind of a rocket to fly, and have a good bit of time in the DC-9, and a Boeing 727. I was typed in that, and that was my favorite of the airplanes that I flew. A very easy flying airplane, and just a joy to pilot that. But there were also other airplanes that I flew that are largely never seen anymore. For example, the Learjet was one that you do see, but I flew one of the early 23 models. A Jet Commander, you don't see those much anymore. The Beech 18, I flew my first, the late 1960s and early 1970s, I flew mail every night in a Beech 18. And yes, I have some stories about that, but it would make the video way too long. And perhaps the airplane you wouldn't expect is the Lockheed Super Constellation. I have flown one of those. And I'm pretty sure that there are not many able pilots left who have actually flown a Super Constellation. As far as I know, there's only one left in the world. And in terms of sheer beauty, I think it was the most beautiful airplane ever built. And I feel honored to say that I have actually flown one. So I just wanted to give you a rundown of my experience, and I retired from flying just as the glass cockpits were coming into existence, and I never got to fly an airplane with a glass cockpit. We had what they call steam gauges, and we actually had to fly the airplane. Oh, by the way, I have a flight engineer certificate and a Boeing 727, something else that's extinct. I don't think there are any more flight engineers anywhere. But we actually had to fly the airplanes, and we didn't just monitor computers like goes on largely nowadays. And I have some degree of pride in that effect, and that I had some skill level, and we flew approaches by hand, and it was a pretty heady time for pilots, and I wouldn't trade it. I honestly wouldn't. So now you know a little bit more than you did about my flying career. Okay, back on the subject of Amtrak again, now that we've finished with aviation. Probably need to talk about why this obsession with Amtrak. Well, there are several things going on here. First of all, I never had an opportunity to ride Amtrak before, and I wanted to see what that was like, and there's other things that go into the equation, that being that after 15,000 hours of flying, also in there I had a trucking company for a number of years and drove trucks of my own when drivers weren't available. And of course we had RVs for 19 years. 8 of those years I drove, we were full-time RVers, and I drove all over the country. And there was this longing somehow to travel without having to do all the driving, and it seemed Amtrak would be a way to do that, especially since we were retired and had plenty of time. Flying, of course, would be a lot quicker, and we will do some of that, have some coming up, matter of fact. But I just wanted to see for myself, and Sandy goes along with everything. She's very sweet like that. What is Amtrak all about? And I forgot to mention earlier that when we had bought tickets on Amtrak to make this trip down to Temple for family and friends reunion, that Amtrak texted us a few days before our trip was coming up and offered us to bid up from coach to a roomette. A roomette being a private room and with 2 seats in it facing each other, which you'll see later in the video. And the upgrade was to cost $135. Well, I thought at the time, and a coach price was $50. So for this trip, so I thought, well, okay, $50 to $135 in order to experience a roomette. That's not too much to pay, and so went ahead and bid $135. Well, that was $5 over the minimum you could bid, and surprisingly, I got it for $135. So they changed our tickets, charged our card. I didn't really notice how much at the time because I figured it would be $135. And then we got to the train and went into the first class section and found our roomette after a good bit of clunking around, not knowing where we were going. And we also, when you have first class accommodations like business, roomette, or a sleeping car, you get your meals free on Amtrak, such as they are, and you'll see that too coming up. But I just wanted to mention that those are 2 things that I wasn't expecting, was the ability to bid up, to place a bid for a better accommodation, supposedly better. And you'll find out later on that it really wasn't all that better, but we thought it was, and we thought it was at the beginning. And the other thing was that they would text us and give us updates as to the timeliness of the train. So those are 2 things we didn't know about. Thought I would share that with you. And let's continue with the video after all these interruptions. But it's hard to get all that in there at one time and remember it, especially when you're doing this on the fly. So stand by, here comes some more. Well, we have stopped at the Mineola Mercantile on our way to the train station. They have a unique store here. They have a dress shop and a candy store, and the fried pies are a thing of beauty. So we're going to go in here and get one. And just one though. They're not good for us. But we'll have that on the train as dessert.
Morning.
Howdy, do you mind if I take a film of your store?
As long as you'll share it and send us a lot of customers.
Well, I intend to. We need 2 pies.
Okay.
Like a peach and a Bavarian cream. Have you got those?
Okay. Yes, I've got some hot ones over here.
Oh, hot. Yummy. Oh, look. You're cooking them right here at the counter. How long have y'all been doing this?
I've been doing it about 30 years. This is my grandmother's crust recipe.
Oh.
So I am the owner and chief bottle washer, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you, it is a unique concept. My wife loves this part of your store. And you can see why she would. She's gotten some really nice stuff out of here. But I tend to gravitate to the fried pies. They even have a place for you to sit. All right.
Those now can fill our car.
Well, here we are at the Mineola train station, all parked, and got a while to wait on the train. I thought I'd talk about this old Lincoln. I've always been a fan of Lincoln cars. I've had probably 8 of them in my long lifetime. But I got the urge to buy this because it literally belonged to a little old lady who only drove it to church and the grocery store. It's a 2011, which is the last town car they made, and I hope they don't make any more, because then my reason for buying it will be diminished somewhat. But you can tell from looking at it that it's just pristine. A lovely old car. When I got it, it had only 70,000 miles, I think, and that's kind of remarkable for a 13-year-old car. But we didn't drive sorry for the noise. We didn't drive the Escalade up here because it's been our experience that people try to steal it, and hopefully they won't steal this one, because I'm actually more fond of this than I am the Escalade. But that's what we're doing with this old Lincoln. It's a jewel. Okay, we're going into the terminal now, so we'll get back with you. Well, looks like Amtrak is coming. Well, we made our way into the dining car. First time for that. I'm sitting with a nice lady. And Sandy got chicken enchilada, and I got a kebab. I'm not sure what that's going to be like, but we'll see. Also comes with a roll and a cake, Diet Coke and ice, and potato chips. I'm not sure how the potato chips go with it, but we'll see. I can't help but notice that the windows are awfully dirty. The whole train was dirty. But I guess it's not a place where they can wash it right now. Anyway, we're almost 2 hours late leaving Mineola, so I don't know if they'll catch up or not. We'll see. Well, we got upstairs in the sleeping car, and we found our roomette. And there is Sweet Sandy sitting on her side, and there's there's nobody there. We're parked in Dallas right now. As you can see, we're not moving, and they've got what they call a fresh air brake here, and you can sleep in this. The bottom seats would fold together and make a bed, and this one up here would fold down, and you could sleep in this, but it would be somewhat less comfortable than a actual sleeper car, which is much larger. And you can see there's not much room here, just enough for two people to sit together. Do have a desk that'll come up and out, and you can have a checkerboard as if you would play checkers on that. And but it's very comfortable. By the way, the meal that we had in the dining car, what was your opinion of it?
It was pretty good for what it was.
And my kebab was actually surprisingly good. It was vegan. It was the kebabs were made of some sort of vegetable that it was difficult to discern from meat. I thought it was quite good. I would order it again. And you got some, well, the light's not good in here, but you got some temperature controls over there, lights, place to hang up stuff, air conditioning vents, and to get up to the bed you would use these steps here, which we have occupied with luggage or carry-ons. But anyway, this is very comfortable. We like this much better than coach, much better. So this is
like the sleeping car even better.
Yeah, we like the sleeping car better. It's of course a great deal more expensive. But anyway, that's the roomette on Amtrak. Well, Temple has a beautiful old train station. I'm told that it lay dormant and falling into disrepair for a long time, and they refurbished it, and what we have directly ahead of us is a museum. And the Amtrak station is in the other end of the building. They have some sort of a private event going on. And here is the Amtrak station. $11:18. Must be running a little late today. Well, it's definitely not the station it would have been many years ago, but the city has really done a good job keeping it up. It'd be nice to see the museum. And directly ahead is the Central Texas Area Model Railroaders. That ought to be interesting. Wonder what's in there. Wish we had time to go in. They got an old steam locomotive. I don't know if you can tour it or not. But it's looks like it's a 261, whatever it is. And so that is the Temple train station. There's Sandy by our rental car. Well, we find ourselves now at near Liberty Hill, Texas, where we are at the Dahlia Cafe with some old friends, dear friends, whom we met in Austin when we were RVing. We parked beside their RV and they invited me over to sit down. We left Sandy in the coach. She finally came out.
Without air conditioning.
Yeah. And we have been good friends ever since. Yay. And so that's Jackie on the right. Hi, Jackie.
Hey.
Steve on the left. And the lady, that's the lady that, I don't know if she just walked up.
You never know me.
No, we love these folks, and we love the fact that they met up with us, and we taught them to play 42, and we're going to hopefully see them again soon. So thanks for having lunch with us, y'all, and we'll see you next trip. This is probably a good time to talk about the roomette that we were pretty excited about when we left Mineola for Temple. Having our own little private room seemed like a really cool thing, but it turned out not to be so cool. One of the problems was that I don't think it was built for two people. It's really quite small, and in order for our legs to fit under each other's chairs, we had to scrunch up against, one of us had to scrunch up against one side, and then the other had to scrunch up against the other in order for our legs to fit under each other's chairs, and there wasn't much room to move them around, so that wasn't very comfortable. And then there was the fact that the chairs didn't recline as they did in a coach. And our way of thinking, the coach seats were much more comfortable. The only element about it that we liked was the fact that we had privacy. You weren't bothered by people going by and or conversing around you. You could pull the door shut and just do whatever you want to. And there was the fact that when you ride in the first class section, which is where the roomettes and sleeper cars are, then you get your meal, such as it is, free, and you've already seen what that was, and it certainly was not worth the extra price that we paid. The train never made up really its late arrival in Mineola. It made up some of the time, But when we were running along about 70 miles an hour or so near McGregor, which is not far from Temple, the train hit a cow on the tracks, of all things. And we came to a rather abrupt stop and sat there on the tracks for about 15 minutes or so. And the conductor and a couple of male attendants from the train ran back and rolled what was left of the cow, the carcass, off the rails, so I presumed the next train wouldn't hit it. And we could just barely see it in the distance. It just looked like a black lump on the tracks, and thankfully we didn't get to see the gruesomeness of what must have been that poor cow. Nor did we look at the front of the train to see what that looked like. But after about 15-20 minutes, the cow was off the tracks, the employees were back on the train, and we took off again for Temple. Actually, we did slightly not hear, but feel the train strike the cow. It was just a very slight crunch, and I saw something fly by the window. I'm not sure what it was, but I think it was probably a piece of the cow. And so that wasn't that was certainly an experience that we weren't expecting. There was also another thing that surprised us. The way we got this roomette was about 3 days before our departure. We got an email from Amtrak that said we could bid up from coach to the roomette, and they said the minimum bid for this would be $130. So, thinking we'd like to try a roomette, I went ahead and bid $135. And then a couple of days later, we got an email saying that our bid was successful, and they went ahead and charged our card $135. Well, I presumed that meant in the place of the $50 that we already paid for the coach fare. And then I learned that it was $135 plus the $50 that we had paid for the coach fare to Temple. So that leg wound up costing us $185, which I would definitely not have paid had I known that. As far as the trip back goes, we got an email a few days before departure that said we had not been successful in getting our bid of $135 for the trip back to Temple. To Mineola. And actually I was quite pleased with that because of the reasons I've already stated. Now the next part of the video that you're going to see is rather brief, but it is during a part of the little reunion that we had, a luncheon in Temple with some of Sandy's family members, and then a short appearance by our daughter Mindy and two of our grandsons, Sutton and Price. So just bear with us on that, and that'll be relatively short family thing, and then we'll move on to the trip back to Mineola. Well, we're going into a mini reunion here in Temple on Sandy's side of the family. This is a long time barbecue place that we used to frequent when we lived here. They have grown mightily since then, but we'll be able to see lots of folks that we haven't seen in a while, so that'll be nice. Hey!
Hello.
I gotta
I
get
was out of town that weekend.
No, you got. I gotta get this on record
Okay.
for posterity.
Well, yeah, good evidence.
Hello, girls. How y'all doing? Hello, Miss Carolyn. It's so good to see you. Hello, Aunt Nettie. How are you?
Good to see
You look
you.
wonderful.
Good to see you.
Lloyd, you look younger every time I see you. Almost like your wife.
I went against the grain tonight.
Hello. I've just started vlogging since I stopped blogging.
Well, you had to do something.
Absolutely.
You have to keep you off the streets and out of the bars.
Absolutely. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good to see you.
No, you totally retired.
Do what?
No, you totally retired.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You don't get older, but I seem to.
You definitely don't get older. Oh my
Every time you drive by, I wonder what time is that? She didn't tell me she was going somewhere.
I don't say that. Well, baseball's Monday night. I got football tonight. I have Bible study on Wednesday.
That's Tammy. Tammy, well, Tamara Rodriguez.
Stay busy. You stay busy. That's good. You too.
So did they know y'all were here, or why they come here? So are they coming from home?
They just drove in for the day. Used to see y'all.
Oh my goodness.
That means I have to behave.
Yes.
No.
You have to be home. You have to be.
I'm not real good at that.
Looky here.
Where's Tyler?
It's just us. He wasn't able to.
Hi, baby. How you doing, Steady?
Yeah, I got
Hi, Pricey. How
McDonald's.
you look at that? Hey.
It goes on
Did
my
Mason call
backpack.
you and tell you?
Yes. I was starting to panic.
Well, I love that he led with, we were almost stranded.
Yeah. Oh, that is cool.
Did I get a hug?
Oh, you don't like you. He doesn't like to be taken. Okay. Well, that's all right. That's cool. Okay. I'm gonna shut this off. Here's a photo of the stairs that we have to negotiate. It's really difficult when you have bags with you. And there's where the big bags are kept. In there. Are you leaving?
Yes.
So here's our little nest. Works good. Like it. Well, here we are in Dallas on a stop called a fresh air break where you get out and smoke if you want to. Terminal is over there. If you remember the last video we took in Dallas. And I see two commuter trains that'll be taking off for Fort Worth pretty soon. When we were in Fort Worth, they added a car and I believe an engine to this train. And here they're going to pick up some more cars in St. Louis. But we're just off for a minute here, then we're going to get it back on. Keep going. It's been a good trip so far. We really like this better in coach. The movie clip about the train in Dallas was the last one that we took on this trip. And there was a reason for that. One of the lessons that we learned is that we carried way too much luggage, and having to deal with that, both the carry-ons and the suitcases. The carry-ons went upstairs with us into the coach, and the big suitcases stayed downstairs in the large baggage area. But dealing with that was such a full-time job that we really didn't have time. I didn't have time to take any more videos. It'd been nice to have had some, and had a photo of the train leaving the station in Mineola and some intermediate things, but we were pretty tired after all the events that we had seen, and that's this is going to be the end of this video. But we are heading next. We're flying up to Boston, and we're going to stay a couple weeks. We'll be with friends, and we're going to go leaf peeping and see two of the only two states that we have not traveled in during our RV travels, that being Vermont and New Hampshire. And the leaves should be beautiful this time of year, and we'll have more videos about that. But for now, we'll wrap this one up, and thank you for watching.